Alright, YouTube. I'm out here working on the C10. Trying to get some of the wiring straightened out and ready. Right over here I got where my main computer wiring hooks up. As you can see, I still got some of these wires. These are the ones that'll hook up to my relays for the ignition that goes to the coils and stuff. Then I still got a few plugs that I have got to figure out where they go to. The labels are actually missing on some of these plugs right here. I think one of these is a crank position sensor. I had it labeled and it came out, and I had it plugged up a while ago, but I had to remove it to put in my dipstick tube, which I went earlier to get. This is what happened to the old one. Right up here, these little spot welds right here. It's right here on this tube, and it popped loose. And I have had them do like that before on other models. Of course, this is my first LS, but I know this is not a problem. I have now come up with an issue. The throttle cable, of course, this one is one for the C10. It doesn't work. I was going to see how much a new one was, and I priced it one time before and I couldn't remember what it was. And then when I went to see about getting a new one compared to a used one, I can't find it for some reason. I don't know if there was a new update or not. There was 2 or 3 things that I've checked out that is not coming up on this. But a few sensors that I do need to replace on this to figure out where the wiring goes. Whoops, sorry about that. I got this sensor here that is broke off. The one right here, if I can get it back here, right in here, this one. Move my hand out of the way. If I can get it, yeah, this sensor right here, that one's broke off. And I have realized I also have one up here that is broken off, and all these were broken before I got it, so I got to get those, replace them, or plug them if I don't need them. I'll figure that out. Then once I get it done, I got to figure out the wiring. And what I want to do is still try to get this to go in the cab. Keep this area right here as clean as possible. If I can get the wiring harness in there, I'll be able to put my relays for my fan, the fuel pump relays, everything inside. I have an idea of how I want to do that. I'm going to make a bracket, put it in. If not, then I'll relocate it out here. First, I want to actually undo some of this wiring, get it even more simplified, neat. I want to where it was run this way and out this way on the motor, which this is pretty much the way it was set. I'm actually going to have it where it'll run nice and neat and go back here towards the firewall somewhere where I can bring it inside if I can get it go inside. If not, I'll get it go nice and neat and either put it on the driver's side or the passenger side back here towards the back. Talking about that, which I still got to put this plate. I got the plate, I just hadn't took and mounted over this hole yet. It's no big deal. This is where the air conditioner blows in. And I was looking around at these wiring that comes off the harness. I got this one main one that comes from the power wire that comes up to this relay. So I got to find out if I need this relay. If I do, I'll relocate it because this box is going to be going. You see, most of this actually crumbled off. This part seems to be pretty sturdy. Yeah, see how brittle it is? So it's a good thing I'm removing this anyway. I'm not going to be using AC. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do on the heater vent. I'll probably take right over here by the heater hose, cut this part, and just block it off and just leave that part alone. and that way this whole part will be removed, and I'll have this whole area right here to do whatever I want to with. Now this right here, of course, goes to the AC, so all this wiring I'll have to go through here, redo, and what I'm thinking is all those wirings goes right in here. If I do, even though it's, I don't know what kind of tar stuff this is, there's a garment right there. So I clear it off, pull these hoses out. I have a vacuum line right here. It goes to the actuator door for the heater. So I might be able to clean that up, use that, or put in another garment. But I should be able to use this hole if it goes straight into the cab like I'm hoping. It may go through this top vent, which is like a drain vent, and then into the cab. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to run it through this, because I don't want to go through two different areas. But I'll clean up and remove any of those wirings that's still connecting. I'll make sure no power is going to them. Then on the battery, which I have this wire right here, which this right here is the original hot post, and you see it's just got one wire that comes off of it. It goes all the way down to the starter, and I got it mounted, but I ain't got it hooked up, that way I can see it. So I got one wire going down there. So on the alternator, the part that goes to the battery, what I'm thinking about doing is running it through the harness and actually hooking it to the power where it hooks up to the starter. That way all the main power will come right off this cable. The only cables you'll actually see is the ones, the ground and the hot, coming off the battery. That way I can keep the battery over here on the passenger side, which I will eventually get me a secondary battery, which I'm planning on possibly mounting over here on the passenger side. But it'll be just to run accessories. I went ahead and started covering some stuff up until I get ready to actually put like a vent and stuff like that to keep bugs and dirt and stuff going there. That way, while I'm working on this wiring, no dirt and stuff will go inside the engine. And that's about it for right now. I'll get you when I get to the next part. Alright, to give y'all a little better idea of what I'm doing, I went through. These are the ignition wires that goes to the injectors. I actually labeled each one of these, saying which one went to which injector. I started from the injector and traced it all the way down. Now I'm going from the injector all the way to the plug, and I'm labeling each one of these. I'm going to get them all labeled up. Then what I'm going to do, once I can figure out where I'm going to put my PCM, then I'll take and figure out how long the wires need to be and how I'm going to route it. Hopefully, like I said, I can get it into the cab, but I figured I'd go ahead and give y'all a little bit of an update showing y'all exactly how I'm doing it. This is more time consuming, but you can also get it more accurate to make sure, because before I depin these, I'll go back through the website, ltswap.com, look at the wiring around them and make sure these are actually 100% correct before I depin them, because they are color coded. The pinks all going to be ignition source, and then each one of these would have a different wire. Like injector 7 was red and black, while injector 3 was pink and black. And let's see, well, 7 was red and black, 5 was okay, 5 was pink and black. No, 5 was black and white. 3 was pink and black. Yeah, I had it right the first time. Going through all these different wires. Like I said, this way is a little more time consuming, but I can make sure it's accurate. And this way I can also do a neater installation once I get ready to install it, because I can wrap these the way I'd want them, so they'll be nice and neat. It is time consuming, but I am having to wait on parts anyway. I'm just hoping I can get a little bit more of this done like the other side, and maybe get ready to actually sort some of these wires together. Once I get the injectors done, the next thing I'm going to be doing is for the coils. And I'll be doing that the exact same way, going through so I can label them. They'll be a little bit easier because I can actually go by the bundles, the whole wiring harness itself, and figure out which color goes to what pin. That'll be done with that part. So that's it for now. And get a little bit further on. As you can see, what I've been doing, I D-pinned, rewired it, undone all the pinks on this side. This is 1 through 7, and then these were D-pinned from the harness. I went through them all the way through LTSwaps.com's wiring diagram, which I'm really glad I do this, because there's several of these that I found out that I had marked wrong. I had looked at the apparently at these small numbers and seen them wrong. But I got the injectors 1 through 7 undone. Next one I'll be doing is 2 through 8. I'll be doing it the same way. I'll route all the power wires and I'll set them to the side this way, but they'll eventually get all wrapped around this way, and then I can figure out how I want to wire, or well, they'll be going this way, and then I might be able to route it and hopefully get it through here where I can move this PCM on the inside. But for right now, I'm going to continue on this and get all these rewired. Once I get done with this, then these connectors that's up here for the owner and stuff, I will reroute where they'll go in the wiring harness and be really good. And that way, when I put the cover on, all these wirings will actually pretty much disappear where you want to be able to see it. So let me continue on with this, and I'll get back with y'all as soon as I can. Alright, I'm back. As you can see, I have actually got all the wires D-pinned. The ones that's left on here are the ones that go to other things, the inside. What do I do? See a wire which, oh, it's connected. Something that's hung up. Yeah, this wires that'll go to stuff on the inside, the cab and other parts. And also got this one, and I got things set out, laid out. What goes on the left, or what goes on the passenger side is on the passenger side, driver side is on the driver's side, except for a few things in the middle which kind of cross each other. And I was able to get a ton of wiring out of the way. This box is half full of other wiring and stuff underneath it. I got this covered up because this morning it was trying to rain on me. Luckily it didn't. But now I got these set out. The next step will be to actually rewire these, or reroute these where I want it. I still need to find out if I can get it into that hole or not. But let's see. Either way, I want to get it where everything routes from the front to the back. So I believe that's what I'm gonna start doing. Get these, I'll route them up, get them wrapped nice and neat towards the back, and at that point, that's where I'll decide which ones I need to shorten and lengthen I made it lengthen some beforehand, and I tell you what, I am really glad I was did this, because here's the funny thing. The injectors on this side, I had everyone correct. Somehow, the way I had it plugged up on the injectors on the passenger side, I had everything going backwards. So it's a good thing I done this. Everything's wired up the way it's supposed to be. Now I'm just going to get it where it's rerouted. And this is good because I've actually found out where some of the sensors are that's missing. This one I am still not satisfied that it's in the right place. I will need to do a little bit more research on that. So I may wire things in, leave this one till last, and then I can wire it in, or go ahead and wire it in. I really need to find out if that's what it is. Apparently one of the other sensors was a crank sensor. I have those two hooked up. They both hook up in the back, but the one that was in the bottom I've plugged up, and it's supposed to go on the top. Was able to find out what some of the stuff was that's missing. Now I do have this one. I was first putting the motor on, trying to move it. I had it hooked up to something, and I accidentally broke it off because of hanging. Now, I already had the wiring harness off, so this was already hooked up to something on the motor, but I don't know what. I got everything wired up, routed the way it's supposed to. I got like my O2 sensors. I got them just hanging there. I'll need to route them where I can plug them up when I get to it. I did find out one plug over here, what that went to, so that's good. But I did, out of the three that I was trying to find out what they went to, kind of find out two of them I didn't even need. And another one that I had hooked up, which is a speed sensor, I don't need because my transmission don't use the speed sensor. It runs off of the cable, so I went ahead and removed that from the wiring harness and put that in with my wired pile. But yeah, this whole section right here, it was just a tangled up mess, but now it looks like a web mess. Spent a lot of hours on it. I started, I think I got started on this around 10 o'clock this morning, and it is 6 o'clock in the evening right now. There's one time when I had to stop and go pick somebody up because they needed a ride, so I was happy to do that. So it wasn't but about, I think, an hour that I missed. So out of all that time, most of it's been right here, standing here. With my laptop, I had it on ls1.com's website that helped me out on a lot of the wiring. Hopefully I'll remember to put that into the description below, so y'all can go check them out. I have found out what some of the sensors are that's broke that I need to replace, and where some of the cables are that go to them. So that's one thing that was really helpful. Just again, like I said, this plugs into that, but I really don't know if that is the right plug, because this says it's a knock sensor, and that does not look like a knock sensor to me. And according to the picture that I've looked up, that's how I made sure I had a lot of these hooked up the right way, is looking at pictures on the web, and that's definitely not the picture of it. So I know somebody was talking about what this is, so I gotta find out what it is, and then I can figure out the wiring harness, which one the wiring harness actually goes to. If that's what it goes to, then, and that's what it is, then this sure is a different setup. I'll figure that out sooner or later. But it's getting late. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to fit this all in one video. It may end up being two, but then again, I may fit all these all in one videos. So let me just flip this back over to me, and then I'll finish this up. Well, it's been a long day. Turn this over here where you can see me. It's been cloudy all day, but the sun, I think it's fixing to set, even though I can't see it. It's starting to get dark. It is a little after 6 now. Won't be too long. It'll be time for supper time. So I'll probably wrap things up. I don't know if I'll actually do any wrapping on the wiring harness today, but I got things set up the way they're supposed to be, straightened out. It don't look like a tangled up mess. It probably does look like a nightmare to some people. Yeah, this is something I guarantee you got to have a lot of patience for. You got to be able to have patience, time to look things over, double check yourself. And I mean, I'm really grateful that I was able to go to the LS2 website, and because some of the wiring that I had checked ended up being completely wrong. I wrote down the wrong numbers of what I wrote on the cables, which I'm glad I double checked them before I took them off, so that way I know everything. Sorry about that. Put my finger right there in front of the camera. That way I'm glad everything is actually wired up right, at least numbered where it's supposed to go. There is, like I said, there's that one that I'm not satisfied that's where it's supposed to go. And I do know there's a couple plugs that now I know where they actually go. I had them plugged up wrong, which I just had them temporarily set up there just to route things. Now the next step is actually getting everything routed, getting all these grounds actually grounded, which these 10 wires, they're all ground, so they'll all go to a common ground. I'll actually probably, I got a couple of connectors right here that came off the wiring harness. It's got some ends on it. I'll probably connect them all to this, back to it, instead of having that big bundle up piece. Though I'll have it nice and neat and sorted together and grounded to one common place. Do know I gotta fix some vacuum lines. Some looks like somebody trying to plug something up at one point, so I gotta figure out how I'm gonna unplug it, because I got something I need to plug up there. If not, I'll have to plug it up completely and go with a different vacuum line, which I think I do have found about 2 or 3. And all of my wiring, all of them seem to be good except for one, if I can find it. It's got a little chip on it. I can't remember what it was. It was one of the last ones that I was straightening out. But anyway, I'm hoping it's going to end up being one of them that I have to shorten. So far, most of the ones that I've had that I had damaged areas, those are the ones I was able to either remove or was able to cut off where that damaged part was anyway. I think 90. I think I had like 4 or 5. This one made the last one, and all the others is actually down there in that scrap pile of wiring. Well, I call them scrap, but I always can use some extra wires. Some of those I'll probably end up using to stand these with. Some I may do new wires. Wiring from the alternator. This is, let's see. I'll have to turn this camera around because I don't feel like flipping that camera again. But hopefully I got this in frame. This is a junction box, and this is what mounts to the alternator. It's a pretty thick wire, and I don't know if I need to get wire that's that thick to go all the way around to the alternator. If I do, then I'll definitely have to go figure out what size wire this is. I think it's probably 8 gauge, maybe even bigger. Or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong way, because I know one way, I think the smaller the number, the bigger the gauge is. I think battery cable is 10, so I think it's like an 8 gauge. Thought I heard raindrops hitting the roof. I don't want it to rain. I got a lot of electronics, like of course, my phone, and I also got my laptop. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk about before I wrap this thing up. But yeah, this is definitely not. It's not a quick job rewiring, and the way I'm doing it, it's probably even longer, more time consuming. But you know, it's routed the way you want it. It's going to end up looking nice and neat. It's not going to have a big bundle like it did. And which good thing about it is I found out there was a lot of wires that I still had on here that I didn't need, which I know the big part of it was grounds, which I had to eventually slowly get to where I can cut it off. Sorry, I keep putting my hand in front of the camera. Let's see if I can hold this up a little better. I got a better idea if I can put this where. See if I can put this where I have enough light. Well, y'all ain't gonna be able to see me there. Put it right here on top of the motor. There we go. But yeah, it's not really a hard job, but it is time consuming. And I am nowhere near being done with this wiring harness, but things look a lot neater and I know where they're going to go. I just have to decide now how to route them. One thing you got to keep in mind when you're rerouting like this is to keep enough slack in where you'll be able to plug and unplug things, change things if you need to, and be able to move around parts for regular routine work. So that's something even I got to keep in mind, which is the reason why I mentioned that. And then also notice there's a few broken parts on top of the motor, which had to be the way it was when I got it, and I got to find out what those actually went to. This might be another vacuum line that I can actually use, even though it's on the wrong side of what I need it for. But I'll get to that when I get to it. Right now, the main thing is get this wiring done. Next up, which will probably end up having to be next week, I need to wrap things up with the information what I need to get my computer sent off and get it flashed and ready to come back, because hopefully I'll be done with the wiring. Hopefully it'll be back before my starter comes back, but it'll be good if I have all that where I can get everything wired up, crank it up all at the same time. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, because I had to start it and start it back up, and I'm still trying to work on editing on this phone. I didn't bring the video camera out here because let's talk about rain, and I got it on a tripod, and I was worried about raining and having to set it up. So long story short, I'm a little bit lazy on that part, but I didn't want to get it wet. There's a few things I still got to get. I still got to get a throttle cable. I still got to figure out how to do the kickdown cable. I've watched so many comments on that, and everybody gives confusion stuff about the kickdown cables. So I got to figure out something. If I have to, I'll rig me up something that'll make it work. Still got to put my flexible dipstick in for the transmission. Still got the other one sitting in there. Need to get that put in there as soon as I can to keep from, so I can check the transmission. But I'll have to have it definitely set up and ready if one of my heads coming in. Let's see, I am trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk on this video. I think that's going to be it for now. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope y'all enjoyed this video of showing how to do the wiring. This be part 1. I don't know, 2 or 3. I don't know. I might even have to split this up, but I have been doing it a little bit here and there. And hopefully I'll remember to put the lcswap.com's website on there, so y'all can know where to go to do y'all's wiring harness. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here because I'm getting so tired I can't even think straight. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.